something good about dark, though, because it makes light so sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Contrast.
I believe it was...
Contrast is the word?
I believe it was the great philosopher 50 Cent who said, sunny days wouldn't be special if it wasn't for rain. I think
That was 50, yeah.
All right. Well, it's good.
Want to get this ball rolling?
Good
We're
to be back.
this is season 2.
This is season 2.
Season 2.
I didn't even know there was going to be seasons when we started. I don't know about you guys. This is...
Yeah, I didn't. It wasn't in my contract. I didn't see it. I thought it was just one, but they got roped into another.
Yeah. We're going to do contract negotiations after recording this one. Well, everyone out there listening, watching, welcome to Tea with Fran, season 2, episode 1. Fran, how are you?
I'm doing great. Amazingly so.
Awesome. Justin, how are you?
I'm doing good.
All right. And more importantly, how have you guys been? It's been about, what is it? Just over 2 months since we gathered and recorded our thoughts.
Yeah. Well, I would like to hear what you guys did because mine is sort of like tunneled. Okay. All right.
But I think people miss your voice, though. Because, I mean, how many people miss the soothing sounds of Fran? That's why people listen.
Well, that's awfully sweet, and I'm glad.
But we'll go first.
Tell me.
Justin, you
go. Pass.
Right. Well, I suppose one of the biggest things I've done since the last episode was cut my hair off, the big reveal, taking off my hat.
I love it.
And I cut it all off. I don't miss it. I actually haven't mailed it yet, but I got it in an envelope, and I'm going to...
That is gross.
...mail it to Wigs for Kids. So hopefully someone there accepts it. And
I want to see the kid who's wearing that head of hair. That nappy head. Because you're going to be like, you know what? You look better without the hair.
They're going to be easily recognizable if they do, if they get that mop that I chopped off. So it feels good. It's going to be interesting coming into colder winter months if I really start to miss it then. But so far, I don't miss it at all. Other than that, I just made a quick list. I tried golf once in the past 2 months. That was okay. Pretty fun. I did inspired almost by my my co-host here.
Colleague? You have to call me colleague.
No, co-host. Didn't drink for the month of November. It was actually my 3rd November not doing it and felt good. So I'm glad Justin here. He still got his fizzy waters. I know
Seltzers.
That's
big Schweppes guy. I swear by it.
I would say the 2 biggest things brought up to me is how much people adore you, Fran, and your voice and
Thank you.
Hearing from you. And the other thing is people want to know, did Justin really stop drinking?
Yes.
I did-ish. I mean, no, I did. So I did. Obviously, I stopped.
Yes.
And then Thanksgiving for me is a day where that's my family. We drink champagne. That's what we do. I'm not going to not do that.
That's right.
So the only day I've drank since was just Thanksgiving. Other than that,
and weddings, you can have a toast.
I went to a wedding and didn't have a toast.
Okay. Okay.
Which is ironic because I have Cheers tattooed on my body, and my guy chooses not to drink. No, but I think I'm gonna do it when I want to. And like as far as like going out to bars and stuff, I like still going out, but I don't care to drink. Like I'm just a social being, so I think I'll just do an occasion. But like for the most part, I don't.
Well,
it's when I want to. It's my choice.
And you'll remember every detail of every evening out, which will be wonderful.
Sometimes it might not be good, but for the most part, it's good.
Oh man, the memories we've all forgotten. Mm-hmm. For Halloween, I went down to Louisville, Kentucky for a My Morning Jacket concert, and I had my long hair. I was a astronaut, and my girlfriend was an alien, and we were out of this world having so much fun, almost out of our minds. It was such a great show. They played almost 3 hours and it was fantastic. Another highlight in the past 2 months is Fran helped teach myself and my mother how to make the mountain trail
cookies.
Those things are good. Do we have any?
No.
I know a guy. Not yet. Okay. They were awesome. They were so good.
Yes.
And as much as one cookie will
get you all the way home.
Will get you all the way home. I ate so many, I might have been able to do the whole trail forward and backwards. I just kept eating them. They were so tasty. So that was great. Still trying to learn guitar.
Good. Good. Keep it up.
Listening back on the last episode and you saying that you got to play guitar for the solstice. That's
yes.
much closer now than it was then.
Yeah, it's crazy.
A few chords, 3 magic chords.
Yes, 3 magic chords. But other than that, I have been enjoying watching some hockey, reading some books, doing some more birding. And, my girlfriend, Sarah, she's good with bird identification, as you know.
Yes.
So we were over at some trail. And
You bagging them and tagging them? You hunting them down?
No, not myself, but I have a picture of the one red-tailed hawk, and it's got a band on his foot. So pretty cool. Once you like know what a bird is, it gets a lot cooler. Depending on the bird, of course. Canadian geese, I don't think anyone likes them. No offense.
Oh.
It's very something to do with Canada.
Baby Canadian geese, sure.
The families that we have on the lake, very special.
They're mean though. Fran, would you admit that Canadian geese are mean-spirited?
I think they're very protective.
That's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah.
Someone who's not mean-spirited, Justin. The past 2 months for you, have you been busy at all?
Always staying busy.
Working hard.
Yeah, working hard. Always working. I did some like my woodworking projects. I did like the countertops. So I'm going to do some more of that come 2023. Got a few other projects that I'm already in the works on. Just that's just for me, like fun little side thing.
Good.
Really enjoy that. And as far as everything else, just work. November absolutely killed it, which was great because I had like a hernia surgery or whatever, so I was just chilling out, and that was to be busy when I was resting was good to help pass the time.
Good.
And the hernia surgery was a success. I think that was mentioned on the.
I don't know if I think I said I was going to do a gender transition surgery, but no, it's the hernia surgery. But no, it's good.
Cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, 1 more week, then I'm back to full activities and go back to working out and doing all that stuff. So 6 weeks.
Are you happy with your belly button now?
You know what? I can finally sleep at night.
I love it. I love it.
That didn't bother me that much.
No.
It was fine.
No, but now it's
now I can.
Now it's beautiful.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm gonna get belly button piercings, belly button tattoos, anything to do with the belly button. I'm gonna do it.
Check
body shots off me all the time. That's it.
Follow. If you're not already, make sure you're following the Tea with Fran podcast on Instagram, and we'll have to get Justin's belly button up there.
I'm not just full nudes on the podcast.
It's good to have you back around.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want? For those who don't follow Justin on social media, though, the table he made is unbelievable.
It is.
The epoxy and the resin and the hours of his life.
Yeah, put a lot of work into. I put sweat equity into everything, whether it's work, whether it's life, whatever it is.
What did you put into it?
It's called sequity, right? That's what the kids are using. Like the people
that's got
sequity. Sexity? I don't know. I don't even know. Equity. It's sweat equity. It's sweat equity. But people
is this a thing?
No, that's like a real sweat equity. But it's like sweat. Is it? I don't know if people.
I understood what it meant, but it was the first time I ever heard it. So that's
a new word.
Yeah, a new word that I don't even know how to say. So let's go on to something else.
Some things never change. And then Fran, are you ready to?
I am. I told you mine was a very focused time away because on our very last podcast, I was talking about the angel event in my life that I will never forget. And if I were to see this person in a crowd, I'd be able to quickly pick him out because he has left such an imprint on my life.
I'll just interject there. If you have not listened to episode 20, the final episode we did before the break, make sure you go back and listen for the full story.
Okay.
But yeah, Fran got visited by an angel while she was lost in Pennsylvania. I don't want to spoil it. I want people to go back and listen.
That's a great idea. That would be good. Well, since we ended that way and we said we were going to do more angel stories, I started thinking about that and thinking about how in the world I was going to find a lot of angel stories. So I started calling friends, having lunch with some. And then I found a very good book, and it was all about angel stories. And this was on the New York Times bestseller list for a long time. I happen to have the book with me. And it's called Where Angels Walk. This is the little book, and it comes in paperback now. You can get a hardback, but it is full of stories. And as I started reading this book, then I started thinking about other events in my life, in some friends' lives, and it it just triggered my realizing that we won't recognize angels because they don't look like the paintings and the pictures they don't have wings. They look like you and me, but they help and then they vanish very quickly.
Yeah. And that's exactly, the story you told about when you were lost. That's great that someone was able to collect even more stories. This takes on a very religious view of that.
Yes, it does. But it doesn't have to be religious.
Yeah, it definitely expands beyond that, which is
far beyond that. I've thought back on the first time that anybody ever told me something about an angel story. And it happened when I was teaching, and this person was a teacher where I taught, and he had a brain tumor. And he had to go to a hospital in Pennsylvania for surgery. They were not able to remove all of the brain tumor. It was going to keep growing. But while he was there, and of course he had to have all kinds of special equipment on, and like a halo around his head. I don't know how they kept him comfortable, actually. But he came out of that hospital, and he came to see me. He came to see me specifically to take me back to school. And they were having some sort of gathering, and I'd had some foot surgery, and he had been out having the brain surgery. And so we arrived together. But before we went, he said, I have to tell you something, Fran. You need to know. He said, while I was at the hospital, at night, it would be kind of late, all of a sudden, there would be people that came in my room. There were men and women, and they were dressed in really nice clothes. And they would come in, and they would gather around my bed, and some of them would put their hands on me, and they would tell me to be calm and to be at peace. And he said, every morning, I asked the nurses, who are the people who come in my room at night? And then each nurse would say, please, we don't let people in at night. We make everybody get out of here by 8 o'clock. There are no people that come in this hospital at night. And he said, I know now that they were angels.
And it was an almost nightly occurrence for
And
him?
it was a nightly occurrence until he came. So that was the first one. Okay, so I'm going to be very honest here and tell you that since I knew that he was on all kinds of medication, I thought that he might have imagined.
Yeah, a little hallucination.
I thought it might have been, but I did not. I just believed him. I said, oh, thank you so much for telling me about it. But it kind of stayed buried in my life until that day in Pennsylvania when I asked for help when I was lost. And all the way home after I received my help, I cried tears of thankfulness that I'd had an angel who actually helped me all the way home. So then I started asking recently other people. It's the kind of thing, people don't really want to talk about things like this. So I was very careful. I told them about my angel story, and I got a really good one. I have a friend who's a retired nurse, and she was always a night nurse so that her husband could be with the kids at night and she could be with them during the day. And it was a winter's night, lots of ice, lots of snow. And she was on her way home back from the hospital. And she was on a very curvy road up in Highland Lakes. And as she made this one curve, the back wheels slipped and she went just down into this gully. And it was a really cold night. She knew she was too far from home to walk. And she did not know what she was going to do. And she thought, I just need help. What am I going to do? And just a few seconds after she said that, up drives a car, and the guy gets out of the car, and he's dressed in a tux. And he walks over and he says, I think I can help you do this. And he went to the back of the car and he told her when to put on the gas. And he pushed her right out. And she went just a little ways and then stopped because she wanted to say thank you to him and find out who he was. He was gone. He was gone, completely gone, just like my angel had disappeared. Now, my angel was dressed in a safari jacket and boots.
Yeah, much more fat than the tuxedo. Tuxedo's a little bland.
Yeah. But see, you can't explain it. And would anybody believe it?
Or maybe everyone's really fast to drive. Maybe they ran to their car, got in, sped away, and it's like... No.
It's funny because you mentioned how, they look, these angels that are visiting look just like regular folks, like,
yes.
You and I.
Right.
But they all are dressed in a way that makes them probably, memorable. Safari, tux,
yes.
colorful clothing. And
have the strength to push that car on an icy road. I mean, there are all kinds of qualities about these angels.
Now, you had another story, I believe.
About Dan.
Yes.
Now, this one, Dan used to love to tell this story. And we could never figure this out. So I'm going to tell it to you because this happened a long time ago. We moved in our house in 1975. And the outside steps leading up to the deck did not have like a flat area where you could step there, and get your things together before you started up the steps. Well, we were doing that. We were making it ourselves, saving money with our young family and meager means at that time. And all of a sudden, Dan stepped backwards. And our driveway not only is high, steep, but it curves a bit. And when he stepped back, it was on the curve, and he lost his balance. Now, Dan was at that point in great shape. He was a real athlete and tall, 6'7", and he started running down the driveway. He was trying to catch himself and right himself.
Stumbling
He
down.
had so much momentum, he's just running. Yeah.
He was running. And I was looking at this and I'm thinking, oh my God, he's going to get hurt. Please, 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 no. And the strangest thing happened. His shoulders went up like this. Each shoulder was up.
It's like someone was lifting him?
And his feet were not touching the driveway. And then he got almost to the end. He was in the air. And he came down gently and was standing there. He turned around and he said, "Did you see that?" I said, "I saw it." He said, "How did I do that?" See, you don't ever think that you could get help, but you can get all kinds of help. It happens. And when I've been reading this book, I'm finding out a lot of times angels you don't see them, but they do things. They stop you from doing something. They can see where you're going. You're going to crash. You're going to hit. Something is going to happen. So they hold you back from it. They could lift you. They can hold you. They can save you when you're drowning. There's so many wonderful stories. And sometimes there are actually just words. You don't see the person, but the person actually speaks to you.
You just hear a voice.
You hear a voice, and then people never forget these happenings. They're with you forever. And I think the thing I just want all of us to know is that there is this whole world. I'm going to call it a world of spirit that all of us one day we're going to be there. There's no not going, right?
And we're all destined.
We're all destined to.
My calling, actually.
But we actually, most of our lives, we don't think about it, worry about it, talk about it, involve it. I mean, I know there are people who do. There are monasteries and churches and synagogues and temples, and there are people that do. But just looking at a lot of people's lives are full of technology, their jobs, their children, maybe they're ill too and they're dealing with health issues. Mm-hmm. But I think they fail to realize that there's help that they don't see.
Yeah.
And so if you do find yourself in a situation where you need help, ask for it. And that's what I really want to share tonight, is that I'm sure it's there, but you need to ask.
Yeah, and you've always been one pushing to, like, if you need help, like, ask for help, because people are willing to help, but they don't know you need anything until you ask. So
Yes, right. Tell your
so-
friends. You always have more help than you know.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you said you wanted me to tell about.
Yeah. So before, Justin, do you have any angel stories that you can think of?
You know what? By the grace of God or whatever. No, I don't. I really, for me, this topic, like, I have nothing that sticks out to me.
Do you think you've been an angel for anyone?
Yeah, recently I was at a party in or I was in Philly, and so I'm sitting there, and you know, I'm hanging out, and this guy, you know, he's like, "Oh, you want some shots?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." He's like, keeps pushing drink. I'm like, "I don't drink," and he's like, "I need to talk to you." And he came over. He's like, "Yeah, I want to get sober. You know, I'm thinking about this." I'm like, "Look, man, I really like. I didn't want to give him any advice. I'm like, I hate when people ask that, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm like, look, the decision's yours. You do what you want to do. But maybe I was his angel.
Exactly.
But I don't think I was.
Exactly.
I think he was wasted. He was bothering the hell out of me, and I just had to get him away from me. It was pretty funny.
Well, Justin, I just want to point out that when you were that little boy at the beach and you took off on your own.
Oh yeah, where I got lost.
I'm not so sure that you didn't have some help around you that protected you.
Yeah.
Seagulls.
Yeah. And you know what?
They grabbed the French fry. They flew me to my parents. That's actually the story. A seagull carried me to my parents.
Well, and even, you know, I guess an angel could even be a dog.
Yes. Yeah. Sarah is not here, but she was protected one evening walking 5 miles at night in Alaska by a dog. Yeah.
That got her all the way home. And when the growling started in the woods, the dog took care of that and came right back to her side and took her all the way home.
She better listen to this, and she better write in her angel story.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Because we're going to ask at the end, us now even, if you have an angel story, please share it.
That would be wonderful. We'd love to hear it.
And then we'll write a book about it, and we'll be good.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah. I'm on it. All right. I'm excited for this because this story is very, very powerful. And I'm thanking you now for sharing it with Justin and I, with whoever's listening and watching. This is the story of White Feather.
Okay. Now, this is going to sound very strange because I thought it was very strange, but the ending has comforted me the rest of my life. 23 years ago, my granddaughters were visiting, and they always came in the summer. And one of the things we always did was go down to Pochuck Farms and pick strawberries or whatever. They'd love to visit the farm. And on this particular day, they said it was very hot, and they said you should come early in the morning. And it was a little bit later. It was more like 10 o'clock in the morning, and it was the Saturday before Father's Day. That's why I can remember it so well in terms of how it happened. And so they said, but you know what? We have some new kittens out in the barn if you want to see the new kittens. Well, my granddaughters took off like crazy and ran to the barn. And I'm walking along, just following the path. And the path looked perfectly all right. But what we didn't know is there was like a gopher hole underneath that walkway. And as I stepped, my left foot went down in a hole and I broke my ankle badly. And so everything changed that moment. And I went first to Newton for one doctor to help me, had to go back 3 days later for another doctor to actually put a plate and 7 screws on there. But the whole thing was a big issue. The granddaughters were very upset. You know, we had to change all our plans because the leg got infected. Okay. So when I told you that I would never change anything in my life because I really have loved my life, maybe I would like to not have had my leg get infected. And I learned a lot about bones and how they heal and how you learn to walk again. And I mean, everything that happens to us teaches us a lesson. we can get better. We can grow as people. Well, I was quite sick and I had to see the doctor several times. My husband couldn't go out of town. He had to take care of me. And then finally, in September, I was well enough to drive for the first time since the accident, which had been on Father's Day, which was in June. Okay, so all that summer was just getting well. I am so thrilled. I have the keys in my hand. I go down to get in the car, and I get in the car, and the strangest thing was in the car. These 7 white feathers. These are the ones.
We're looking at 7 white feathers.
7 white feathers. All right. Now, I didn't frame them right away, just so you want to know, but I felt I just was frozen when I saw them. I mean, they're all different sizes, coming from different parts of a white bird. And, I picked one up to see they were real feathers. They weren't fake feathers. And so I picked each one of them up and I put them in my purse, and later I put them in an envelope. And I always kept them with me. There was something about these feathers. Then I started to call everyone I could imagine would have done such a thing. Who would put those feathers in my car along the dashboard? And they were shaped, the way they were laying across the dash was in a very special pattern. It was actually very pretty. Nobody knew anything about the white feathers. Nothing. So because I have a large pocketbook, I kept the envelope with the feathers in my purse. But I had this secret thing in my heart to always find out who put those white feathers in the car. Well, I had a call. I think it was in November. I know it was getting very cold. A good friend of mine called and said she wanted to take an energy class. And there was a really interesting person teaching this adult class at Votech. She said, but I don't want to go by myself, and I think you might like it. And I said, what is an energy class? And she said, well, it's like feeling something around you. We talk about that. Like sometimes you don't like to sit next to somebody because their energy's a little bad.
Who listening to this wouldn't want to go to an energy class with you, Fran?
So I said, okay, I will go with you. All right. Now remember, the envelope is in my purse. I don't even look at it anymore because nobody knows anything about the feathers. All right. So it is like 6 classes for 6 weeks we go. And during the class, it was very interesting because this person had a terrible accident in New York City. He used to work in the financial district, and one day he got hit by a bus. A bus.
With all these finance guys, it gets them buses. They don't look before they cross the road. There's just numbers. They don't, just common sense.
He didn't
right over their head.
The bus turned the corner and hit him. Okay, so he was in the hospital for a long time. He had a lot of broken bones. And he decided at that point that he needed to completely change his life. He met interesting people at the hospital, doctors and nurses who were devoted to what they did. He realized that the way he was living his life didn't change anything, didn't make anything better. So he went back, picked up some more classes in a college. He's actually studied hypnotism. He studied psychology. I've forgotten what his degree finally was in, but he became a doctor. He had his doctorate. And then he started to help people heal. And he said, because you need to become aware of energy. Everything that's living, you hold your hand near it, you can feel the energy. When you put your hands close together, very close, get closer, you can feel the energy between your hands. Yeah. All right. One day he brought all these different rocks and things in a box, and he passed them around the class, and he said, just say out loud, pick up any rock and say what you hear or feel. I picked up a rock and I said out loud, I hear a jackhammer. I heard this jackhammer. He said, excellent. He said that actually came from out west when they were doing the carving for the
Mount Rushmore.
That's it, Mount Rushmore. And he had picked up that rock. So anyway, I learned a lot of things about energy. But on the very last time that we were there, he said, tonight is a special night. He said, I'm going to light a candle, and I want all of you to meet your guardian. Now, he had never used that word before. We never had talked about it. Everything was about energy. But he said, every single person has a guardian. And he said, and tonight, if you will follow what I tell you to do, you're actually going to meet your guardian. So everybody closed their eyes. He lit the candle. The lights were down. And he took us on a meditation. And you had to walk a path. And while you were walking the path, things would appear that you needed. What kind of path? Are you at the beach? Are you in the forest? Are you on a busy street? Wherever you are, find your place. Are there flowers around you? What is there? But see them in your mind. Okay, I am walking in the forest because it's one of my favorite places to be. And I'm walking and it's snowing. And I thought, I'm not cold, but it's snowing. I could see all these beautiful flakes falling. And as I got toward the end where the light was, because he said, there will be a light, keep walking toward the light. When I got to the light, and I put my hands out to catch the snowflakes because there was a pause, it wasn't snow. It was white feathers. Now he said, you are to look first down so that you can see the feet of your guardian, and then make your way up, looking up, looking up, looking up, until you actually see the face of your guardian. I looked down at the feet, and they are moccasins. This is definitely a man, and he has large feet, and he's wearing leather pants, and I'm looking up, and his arms are not like crossed like you see an Indian chief. In fact, his arms are out, beckoning to me. And I said, what is your name? He said, you know my name. You have seen my name. And I said, White Feather? He said, yes. And then he said, come. And I walked right into him, and he put his arms around me. I could feel his arms. And he said, you have no idea how dearly you are loved. I am always here. And then he walked us all back and turned the lights on. And then everybody started to share what had happened. And everybody was crying in the class. Not everyone saw their guardian, but I saw mine. And then what was interesting, because I just thought, did I make this up in my mind? Because you do question yourself.
Yeah.
Whenever there would be a problem, you see these white feathers like this? These were from special places where they should not have been. They were inside places. This one especially was down in Houston, Texas. We were waiting for our taxi to come, and we were going to have to fly home, and there was a terrible storm happening. And I said to Dan, we were waiting there for the car, I said, I hope they don't fly tonight. And he said, well, we'll be all right. I mean, they have all the mechanics, they know how to fly. And I looked down, and right by my foot was this white feather. So I knew all of a sudden, I'm not afraid anymore. And that's what it has given me. It has given me a kind of calmness no matter what happens. No matter. I have a guardian, and it's white feather. So every now and then, I will say something sweet to him and thank him again. And now I get home safely. Recently, I was coming back from the grocery store, And I was on Route 94. And as I was approaching the filling station, it was a lovely day, no problem. And the bright light outside, a man in a pickup truck was talking to somebody in his front seat. And he started to turn right in front of me to get into the gas station. He never looked. And I hit the horn and the brakes, and he moved, and we just almost had a terrible accident. That's why I thanked White Feather as soon as I got home, because I know it had something to do with my reaction. You know, I'm going to be 84 on New Year's Eve. I can't believe now that I hit the brakes and I hit the horn so fast. I kind of think somebody help me do it.
White Feather.
White Feather.
I knew it had to do something with an Indian. I know. I felt like a chief. That's
why
you
is
said white feather story. I'm like, I pictured a man in moccasins.
It was. And he's huge. He's really big.
I just love, if anyone deserves to have, proof of the other world, the spirit world, it is you, Fran, because you can convey that message.
Thank you.
To folks like Justin and I, to folks listening, wherever they are, that, these forces are out there.
Yes.
And
you're not alone.
Yeah, you're not alone.
I know we talk about alien. We got alien stories. We got ghost stories. We got angel stories. We got it all. I mean, there's a lot going on. There's more life outside than this.
I know. And these are all the things that, people question. And
if you got questions, Fran's got the answer.
I will tell you what I know. It's only what I know, and I'm very willing to share it.
Yeah, and I thank you. Everyone listening, I'm sure, is hopefully as impressed and in awe like I am, like I'm sure Justin is. And maybe folks even listening will think back on their own life and notice, I would notice, a certain object, animal, whatever it is, when they have gone through and their guardian angel is out there trying to just drop little signs that they're protected as well. I need to keep a better eye out.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even have to. Fran, you're my guardian angel. You're the one driving me home.
If that's not a good idea, like you're just looking around, you got an act. This is your third action this week. What are you doing? I'm just looking for my angel, man. I'm just trying to find it.
Well, we're laughing, but it is. This is serious. This is real, and it's and we're laughing because it is the kind of thing that is hard to believe, but I'm telling you the truth right from my heart.
I can't imagine what it must have been like in that room, with folks like yourself having the message come through so clearly.
Yes. Well, and I didn't know that you could pick up a rock and feel something, that you could get a picture or hear something, because I'd never done that before. And of course, I always ask people to bring me a shell from the beach or a rock from wherever they are. Yeah. I have all these wonderful rocks that you've brought me. Sarah brought me. And I love having them. And I love holding them because everything gives off energy. Everything.
That's how you're connecting to the rest of the world. That you feeling, you giving the globe a hug, Fran.
Well, I think that everybody has the ability. I think a long time ago, before we really had words and before people had reached
those times sound so great. It's so simple, right? You don't even know how to talk. Like, sounds nice.
You would have struggled.
I would have had a hard time. I would have been very handsy, which would have probably got me in a lot of trouble. So,
but don't you?
Doesn't matter what time of what decade, what era it is. If you're too handsy, you're going to get in trouble. So,
don't you think, though, Justin, that a long time ago, people needed that other sense more? Since they didn't really have the language and way to convey their history to their children and things like that, that they had to have this other thing that they also used. And the more we developed, the less we needed that. So, but it's still there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's there. You have to awaken it.
I mean, now, we don't connect. I feel like people just don't care about like learning about like history and what's going on in the world. It's just like, let's just consume as much media as possible. And,
I know
that's our contribution is just
all the technological noise out there to prevent you from hearing.
Yeah.
or seeing or
Right.
experiencing.
I know. How many times have you had it absolutely silent when there wasn't another sound, not any sound? You know, I had never been in a really quiet house until I was calling on people for fabric for Dan to the Amish because they don't have electricity. And so their house
There's no buzzing. There's no hum. It's
not
just
a
still.
sound. Because we stop hearing those buzzes.
How was your big energy person? How was their energy? Like, how was the room? Like, my thing is, I could walk into a house, I could walk into a place, and I know either I want to be here, or I don't want to be here. Whatever it is, I get a feeling. How was the energy in that of an Amish person's house? Because I feel like it'd probably be a little bland.
It's different, but they were welcoming me because they wanted to see the line.
Yes.
So that
You had the goods.
I had the goods, right?
And
so
they had the money.
Yeah, and and you know what? And they also had quilts hanging up, and a bus would pull up, and the tourists were there looking and everything. But I was often in the quietest house I'd ever been in my life. Their sewing machines are really treadle machines, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There is no electricity. And then I realized the minute you get out, there are all these other sounds, but you have to have a quiet place to then awaken to the sounds again.
Yeah.
A very interesting thing.
Justin, where's the quietest place you've ever been?
Every night when I go to bed and close my eyes and it's just pitch black.
Sleep.
It's quite lovely. Yes.
It's dark.
I don't know. I mean, I couldn't tell you. I've been to places where there's, you go to
Out in the
cabins,
woods,
like out in the
yeah.
woods. Camped outside.
Yeah, good. See, that's where you have to go.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go
Yeah, but
out with nature.
You're still getting noise from, you're getting, whether it's crickets at night.
That's
So
right.
unless you go in one of those like chambers that's like the sensory deprivation where literally there's nothing.
Did you do that?
No, I kind of want to though, where you like in you're in like a bed of salt water, right?
Yeah.
And you like can't hear or see anything.
Yeah.
Be cool.
That would be.
Yeah, I know. I think my sister's done it. When I used to work at the cave, I did an off trail, and we got into this spot, and I think
You guys call it caving? You doing caving?
Yeah,
Is that like a thing?
Spelunking.
Spelunking?
Spelunking.
That sounds nothing like caving, but okay, continue.
We got to a spot, everyone like kind of sat down, and it was like, all right, 3, 2, 1, everyone turn off their their lights. And it was so dark, and I guess you could hear us breathing, but it was, that is true darkness.
Silence.
There's no,
just black.
Silence.
Just that was eerie. It was a good experience though, and I was with actually a pretty avid listener of the show. I live with a guy Maz, and he was a geologist. I miss him dearly, and I remember we got out of the elevator back to the civilization, and he's like, quick, hurry. And like we all rushed outside to smell the ponderosa pines, and we had all gotten so accustomed to it that you didn't really notice it, but they smelled so sweet and so strong in that moment after being in the cave for 2-3 hours, whatever it was. So Maz, thank you for that experience. I still remember it.
That's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Yeah.
How many summers ago was that?
Oh boy. 4, right? Yeah.
It's really special.
Yeah, I wonder.
Where was that? Where was that again?
South Dakota.
South Dakota, yeah.
Well, I don't have. I quickly told someone once said, I mentioned on the last podcast, I look like their guardian angel. That's always a weird thing.
Oh yeah, I was there for that. I was at that party,
and that was around the time. Like I said, it was like a weird time. But that person said that to me. But I also had 2, if not 3, other people say to me over a 6-week, 2-month span that I look like someone they know. And it happened multiple times in that short part of my life, and it has not happened since.
Isn't that interesting?
So I don't know. That was a strange time. Well,
you got any quick questions?
So nothing written in. No.
Oh well, we didn't. Yeah, we didn't.
No Fran mail, folks. Get back to writing in the Fran mail. Yeah. I did write down tears of thankfulness. I thought that was a nice little thing you said, because there's tears of joy, tears of sadness, but you don't hear thankfulness often.
I'll never forget that drive home.
And I love the song Tears of Rage, written by Bob Dylan and Richard Manuel.
Yes.
Good stuff. So I do have some questions, Justin. And
Shoot, fire away.
this one's definitely for you. When we were working on season 2 ideas the other day, do people prefer to ask or answer questions?
I think sometimes asking a question is hard, but also answering they both can be difficult. I think people like answering questions, but they're gonna skew it. They might skew it in a way that you want to hear it. That's the only thing, though. Think about it.
So you're saying it's important to have people in your life that tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
No, you got to hear what you. I mean, no, it's just what they need and want. Oh, this is the need and want thing again.
Well, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Yeah, you'd much rather that what you need versus what you
what
want.
did the guy at that party who was asking you for advice on getting sober? What did he want to hear and what did he need to hear?
Dude, I have no idea. It was just bothersome.
He wanted to hear you say, "Okay, I'll take a shot." But
probably
he needed to hear that.
And then
"Hey,
he's
man,
like,
you
I
should
just
stop
never met
drinking."
anyone who like 30 who just has it. I'm like, dude, it's not hard. It's a decision I made. Like, you don't have to, like, if I want to drink, I'm gonna drink. If I'm not, I'm not. So, But he was just fat. He was like fixated on it.
I like to think that
like,
he's out telling people
I was just
a value of like you're a wild animal that's like rare. I met a 30-year-old and they were sober.
Yeah. First off, I'm not sober.
And you're also not 30.
I'm not 30. It's all lies.
Something we discussed the other day, Fran and I, but Justin, I'll bounce it off of you. Do you feel that as you've gotten older, you've opened up more or that you've closed more as a person?
I definitely opened up a lot, and now I think I'm I'm closing down. Like, I know, like, I've put out a lot, and now I want to just kind of like hunker down into like where I am right now. I think that's it's a blend. You don't want to give too much information out, but you don't want to not give enough. There's a blend, there's a balance.
Mm-hmm.
So that came from me. Like, even like, I used to always just be the one who had to be like, get the last word in and stuff. So now I don't care for that as much. Just let it be. I don't have to control the room. There's some things that, that you're not meant to, be in control of. So,
yeah. Okay. Fran, I kind of think I know what you'll say, but it's probably good to keep an open mind and open heart, open to life itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like Justin saying, you don't want to be too open and leave yourself exposed and vulnerable per se. But what advice would you have to folks out there listening to remain open-minded, open-hearted? Just not get hardened by life and, the things it throws at them.
Well, my wish for everyone is that they will be forever curious.
That's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Because that means you will learn forever. And I think we should be a learner till our very last day, always growing, keeping an open mind because things are being discovered that are going to change things. We're finally at a place where we can look at things on one single cell and how that cell operates, and look at the way we look at viruses now and bacteria and all the things we couldn't do before. So you have to have an open mind.
Yeah.
All
But
the
be
stuff
curious.
we can do with viruses and
Yes.
bacteria. I mean, look at the stuff that China created. It's unbelievable.
Well,
They're working on COVID. They're working on the new strains, the new variants coming out.
Yeah. Well, I think the thinking was do it over there instead of over here. And it made
They
it
brought it
here
here anyway. Everything made in China comes here.
All right.
That's how my business is built.
All right. Out of fear of turning political, that's it for questions. It's good to be back with you guys.
Oh, it's wonderful.
And I want folks out there to remember to write in their questions, their angel stories.
Yes.
Any feedback for the show is welcomed. You can connect with us at the Tea with Fran podcast on Instagram. It's the same name on YouTube. And then if you want to write in questions, comments, it's teawithfranmail@gmail.com. And
Wonderful.
We would love to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And something I mentioned before, maybe off air, I don't know how Justin's going to edit it, it's just how dark it is outside and how I got to get used to that because it feels quieter now.
Yes.
You know, there's no animals outside. The birds aren't chirping, anything like that. Oh, well, the animals are outside, but you can't hear them.
They sleeping.
And it's almost
the solstice.
It's almost the solstice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Take care, everyone out there.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you
Good
next week.
night.
Till next time.
It's good to
Bye.
be back.